Hey kids, Peter from Panda here. Hey, got a notification on my dashboard that my tail light was busted or burned out, to be fair. And it's this middle bulb. It's this dual filament bulb here. The brake light and headlight, regular running light, is burned out. The filament for the brake portion is what's burned out. So when you hit the brake, the second filament doesn't light up, showing that you're braking. So that's actually pretty dangerous because you don't want to get rear-ended. So I am going to replace the bulb here, and what I found is a couple of interesting things I want to tell you about. First of all, there's only two screws that hold this headlight assembly in. They have a Phillips head on them, but I wanted to show you that because they're in there so tight, and they've been in there for 4.5 years, I've actually stripped this threading trying to get this sucker out. So what you're actually going to need, and what I would recommend you have, is a 10mm socket. And that is because they are in there so tight and kind of dried in there over the years that this is going to be an easier way to get that out. So I was able to get the screw out with the Phillips head screwdriver down here, but this one I ended up stripping and had to go to a 10mm socket. If you have a 10mm socket, I would start with that and not fool around with it. And if you don't have a 10mm socket, be aware that you might strip the sucker and be running out to buy one anyway. Once you get the screw out, the assembly will just pull out. And actually, you can just pull it straight out or kind of twist it out a little bit. There's only two little pressure tabs, like that one right there, that hold the other side in. You're also going to have to disconnect the connector from the back of the housing. A little tab that holds it in place right here. What I needed to do is I actually used a flathead screwdriver to lift up that latch to pull this plug out, because once it's connected on there, snapped in, it can, there you go. As you can see, it's on top of a little stop there, and it's really hard to get out. So you're going to want to use a screwdriver to get in here and lift up this tab and then pull this plug out. Once you do that, then you can take off the backing. I'll show you that next. Okay, the back of the light assembly is held on by these little Torx screws. You're going to need a T25 Torx head. This is a 2012 US model, so I think on the 2011s and earlier there were just snap clips, but even though this was one of the first cars available in the US, you need a Torx bit, so keep that in mind as you're getting these off. The other thing is, just like the screws holding the light on, these can be a little tough to get out, so make sure you have something that you can really torque them out, and then you can just lift this off. It might take a little doing because there's a rubber gasket that's going to kind of pull away as you lift it out. Now, my main brake light, the two filament light, is what burned out. The headlights, when they go on, there's one filament that lights up and shows that your rear tail lights are lit up, and then there's a second filament which lights up when you hit the brake light, and that's the filament that's burned out. Went to AutoZone and picked up a new bulb. This the one that fits is 75/20/28. As you can see, two filaments in there, one for the headlight, just the regular tail lights, and one for the brake light. So take this out and you screw it in there. Goes in, just screws in. There's a couple of little nipples on the outside of the lamp that fit into these slots. Push it in, twist it down. Same to get the old one out. Now this rubber gasket is kind of pulls away. Just push it back into the channel here before you put the light back on. That's going to help seal these up from the elements. And then you're just going to turn it back over, and be careful as you're kind of dropping it back in. You don't crush the light, the bulbs against the housing. Just kind of fits right back in, and now you're ready to take your T25 Torx bit and start screwing these screws back in to hold down this piece. You don't want to over tighten them, just get them nice, kind of hand tight. Now once you have everything plugged back in, all your new bulb is in, plug this plug back in, and then just go ahead and set it. Make sure you get those little nipples into the little plastic grommets there on the far side, on the outside, and then push the lamp back into place. Your holes should line up pretty well with the holes there, and then just take your screws and screw it all back together. Sorry the lighting's not great, guys. Spent the day at work. And again, I would use the 10mm socket to twist these back in. Should be good to go. Just fired up the car, and the symbol is gone, showing me that I have a rear brake light out, so good to go, back on the road. That's how you replace the rear bulb for the taillight on a Fiat 500. Peter von Panda, out.